Good evening, Elevation and FWWC, WDWA, and Wrestle Talk Podcast family. Welcome, everybody. It is great to have you guys here, and it's been a while. Unfortunately, we had things happen, and last show just didn't happen. But, we rescheduled it, and we got things back on track now. And yes, as I'm saying, we got it back on track. You guys are probably noticing that
Gavin looks a lot better. You can say it.
Yeah. That guy there doesn't look much like Gavin Jackson. But, unfortunately, Gavin could not make it tonight. So that's all right, though. Filling in, we do have my commentary partner from Frontline for when I'm filling in on Frontline there. Mr. Dashing Donnie Diablo with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So he's filling in for Gavin. How's it going tonight, Donnie?
Man, it is great to be here. This is the second time now. We had a blast the first time. I think we went way over though. Once we get going, it's hard to get a stop. But, it was a fun show. I had a great time. So when Gavin reached out to me, I was like, sure. Yeah, I think that's actually what I said. It was just sure, I was like, all right,
so,
that was easy.
It's going to be a great show, though. Looking forward to it. And, the fans weigh in will be back tonight. If you want to be our fan for the fans weigh in, be sure, hit me up, let me know, be commenting. And I'll hit you up with a link and let you know, and we will get you in there. I've got people that hit me up at the show saying, hey, man, I want to be the fan for the fans weigh in. And, how do I go about doing it? And that's how you do it. Just keep commenting. Just keep letting me know you want to do it. And I'll gladly get you in there when it's time to do the fans weigh in, because we always looking forwards to that. And, tonight we've got the Freak Show, all three men backstage ready to go. So, we're going to be talking to them here just a little bit later. And so it's going to be a lot of fun tonight, I think. So looking forward to it. I know Donnie's looking forward to it. We got Steve checking in, Great to see you, Steve. Thanks for checking in. We miss you at the shows, buddy. So, and
we got Steve and Sheila both checking in now. Yeah, it should be a lot of fun tonight. We still got to go over the whole last show and everything. Last show was a barn burner too. If you missed it, be sure to tune into Frontline. Haas and I, called all the action last show. Probably be doing the same thing this show. This is a good show too. And when you look at it too, you got to put in mind this is the Halloween theme show. So I guess we're gonna have some guys maybe dress up.
Definitely, and talking about last show was on the 11th. It was no remorse, and there definitely was no remorse at that show, I tell you. And I mean, we've got the results there, but I mean, for some of the older folks like myself, it can be hard to read. But don't worry, we are going to go through it here. So we started off the night with match number 1, a tag team championship match that saw Zakar Shaw and Clay Jacobs giving a rematch to Black Wall Street, giving them the opportunity to regain those tag team champions. And we saw Clay Jacobs and Zakar Shaw retain those titles. So, one heck of a match there. What did you think of that match, Donnie?
I thought it was an incredible match. There was sportsmanship at the end of it, which through the match we did not see. Because I'm not, I'm not taking anything against either one of these guys, but Black Wall Street came to win. They came out and there was a point in time where Zakar injured his leg, and they locked on it like a pit bull, man. They were all over Zakar Shaw. They worked the leg. They made the quick tags. They kept working the leg. There was a point where I remember, I think Danik was the referee in that, and she's like, she kept checking on Zakar because like he would, you heard the screams, you heard the shrieks. He was in a lot of pain. They worked that leg for all it was worth. In the end, Zakar and Clay came out victorious, and they were able to, show a sign of respect, which was reciprocated from Black Wall Street. So class all the way, but the match didn't play out that way. Black Wall Street was in it to win. They were in it if they had to hurt Zakar, take him out for a few months to win. That's what they were willing to do. And at the end of it, when they were bested, respects go both ways. But like that was just an insane, really hard hitting match.
Yeah, that was a great match, and it was just a lot of great action. And then we went into the second match of the night, where we saw the Lightning Ryo go against Warwolf Creed. Now, of course, that wasn't supposed to be Warwolf Creed, but we've seen now where Money and Power have said that they're not showing up, and until Gavin makes things right for them in their mind. And so it's Warwolf Creed stepped up with the Lightning Ryo, and that was actually one heck of a match there. Even though Warwolf Creed was filling in, so didn't really have time to prepare efficiently. He really did a heck of a job, though, in that match, and brought the fight to the Lightning Ryo. But in the end, Ryo defeated Warwolf Creed. Another great match through the night there, Donnie.
It was, and it was supposed to originally, like you said, be Jerry Jeremiah. JTR decided he wasn't going to let Jerry Jeremiah show up to face Ryo, so that's how we came about this match. But when you mentioned Warwolf didn't have a lot of time to prepare, Ryo, I don't think knew who his opponent was going to be until right at showtime. So he knew a little bit before Warwolf Creed came through the curtain, but not too much before. So Ryo didn't really have time to prepare either, and that was a match that went both ways. A lot, and at the end, Ryo was able to pull it off, and a really impressive win. And Warwolf is frustrated. I would really hate to be the next guy in his path, because after coming off a couple losses, he was ticked, noticeably ticked, and he was just scary on the way out.
Yeah, absolutely. And Warwolf, he really hasn't had a lot of success here in WDWA in the few times that we've seen him. But something tells me that that's not going to be the last time we see him. And he's bound and determined that he is going to get success here at WDWA. So definitely looking forward to seeing him again. But then we went into a ladies match, and this match actually did not go quite the way a lot of people thought it would. I don't think it went the way anybody thought it would, because we saw Scarlet Maiden versus Kate Thorne, and that actually ended in a no contest because the referee Danica actually had to stop that due to injury, because Kate Thorne, she went over the top. Her knee actually smacked the ring as she went to the floor, and she was not able to put weight on it. We saw Gavin carry her out of there from the outside the ring, and so our thoughts are with Kate, and I just hope that she gets a lot better there with her knee, and comes back strong.
Hopefully. It looked nasty. We saw it, and you mentioned too that Gavin wasn't supposed to really be lifting anybody that night, but we'll let that one go. But Kate Thorne's tough. She's a competitor. I think she's going to come back. She's going to come back stronger. It took, I think, everything and everybody to just get her to agree to go get checked out after the match, and like you could tell right away something was wrong. which is, why everybody was kind of erring on the side of concern. But, young, tough, and stubborn, she didn't want to go. But in the end, they were able to get her to go get checked out. Hopefully she's going to recuperate all right and, be back with us before long.
Yeah, definitely. But then, we went into a 4-way light heavyweight championship match. And, in that match, of course, we saw our champion, Ace Christian, defending that light heavyweight championship. As we've seen him do many times since winning it, he truly is a fighting champion. And he went against Rex Riddle, Dean Mosley, and Rockstar Kelly. That was another hard-hitting match. And, of course, Ace Christian came out on top on that match, retaining that title once again. And just so much action in that match.
Everybody looked great. Dean Mosley came out and Dean Mosley looked as good as I've ever seen Dean Mosley, look out there. Rex Riddle put on a great show. Rockstar Kelly, he was one of the ones I thought kind of, stole the show with that. Being the CCW champ, being one of Ace's guys down out of Richmond. He's every show when he's come up and had a chance to perform for us at WDWA. He's really put on a show. He's, very charismatic, very cocky, but in the end, Ace Christian, and maybe the fans can help us out on this. I can't think of a show since Berkeley Mania where Ace Christian, whether he's been scheduled to or not, hasn't defended that light heavyweight championship. So he's definitely been a fighting champion, and he looks better every time we see him.
Yeah, definitely. And, Tyler Petticord, he's asking for a match here, and I definitely think this would be one heck of a match. He wants to see Axel Crow versus Ace Christian, and those two going at it, that would be an awesome match. I really do think that would be something to see. So, we'll definitely have to pass that along to Gavin, and see what he can make happen. But that definitely is something I think a lot of people would like to see. But, then we went into, speaking of Axel Crow, and our guest tonight, Axel Crow joined the Freakshow for the night, and he actually went against 3 others there in a 6-man tag match. We saw Tony Onyx, Robbie Wayne, and Adam Avalanche, and I know for Robbie, this was his debut. I believe this was Onyx's debut, and Adam Avalanche we've seen before in the Rumble, I believe. So, I really thought when they first came out, that, okay, these 3 guys, how much familiarity do they have with each other? Is that going to play into this match? And in all honesty, those 3 really worked well together through that match. It really surprised me how well they worked together. You would have thought they've been working together for a while. And they kept cutting the ring off. They kept the guys on their side of the ring and kept tagging in and out. And it really wasn't looking good for Freakshow and Axel Crow. But in the end, Axel Crow got the pin, and Freakshow and Axel Crow got the win. And I'm not sure Robbie Wayne ever got his nose back. But
I'm not sure either. He got stopped on a couple times, and he got a 5 across the eyes. But that's what Axel Crow brings to the table. Like he's one of those guys too that every show he seems to grow and show us more things that you didn't think you were going to see out of Axel Crow. He brings to the table, and he fit in so perfectly with Freakshow. It was insane. So both of those teams really put on a great show. It was one of those great matches, and I was with you. I was surprised that for three guys we really didn't know all too well from the WDWA standpoint coming in, that they were able to put on a show like that against, you know, a more established team with one extra guy that was, you know, in Freakshow for the night.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, I'm seeing here, you know, from the comments, you know, with Linda Wright saying that was awesome and everything. And, you know, Steve talking about how, you know, Avalanche Adams is a great guy and he expects big things from him. You know, you can tell that the fans really approved of that match and just look forwards to seeing more out of those gentlemen. And I definitely look forwards to seeing more out of them as well. And, you know, later we'll definitely have to get Freak Show's thoughts on Axel Crow, you know, because
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure there's some interesting thoughts about Axel, you know, but then, you know, after that, we went into another match that pit followed Jamie Hall against Laszlo Arpad, the Hungarian hero. You know, Laszlo making his return to WDWA, former world champion, and just, you know, he's a great guy. It was great to see him back in WDWA again. And, you know, he went against Jamie Hall, who is a newcomer to WDWA. I mean, this is his second match with us, but by no means is he a newcomer to wrestling. You know, he is the old school style, and we've made mention time and time again that, you know, he was an Army medic. He knows how to take people apart or put them back together, so he knows how to take them apart as well. And, you know, it truly showed. And, you know, he actually got that Cobra clutch on Laszlo, and, you know, he refused to let it go, even though, you know, he did get Laszlo out and came out with the victory. And then once he didn't let it go, you know, the big surprise of the night, we saw Ace Montana come to Laszlo's rescue. You know, of all people, I didn't even see Ace in the back. I know you said you didn't see Ace in the back. I don't know where he was the whole night, but when he came running out there, you know, the crowd seemed to really get behind Ace, and, you know, he went after him, and he's issued a challenge, and he's issued it as a steel cage match. Now, Gavin hasn't answered yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's gonna get that match, if he's not gonna get it. You know, Jamie hasn't answered. Jamie just kind of, you know, Jamie wasn't worried about him and walked in the back. And, you know, so I'm interested to see, because something tells me, you know, even though we don't tend to see Ace a whole lot, something tells me this isn't over between those two. And
No, for sure. And especially knowing Ace Montana for as long as I've known Ace Montana. And you pointed it out too. The incredible fact of the matter is Ace Montana stands out in a room. You can hear him, you can see him. He's Ace Montana. Like he's gonna let you know he's there. So for us to not know Ace was there till literally his music hits, and we're still like, there's no way. Like, nah. And then he runs out and, you know, tells Jamie Hall kind of what he thinks of him. And, you know, kind of catching up to Jamie Hall, hearing some of the rumors and stuff in the back. You know, Jamie Hall doesn't appreciate, he thinks Ace Montana's part of the problem in professional wrestling right now, that he's out here, he's training these guys that don't know how to wrestle, or, you know, they're doing the flippy stuff, and they're, you know, he doesn't respect the new school, and Ace Montana is part of the reason that he's having to face off against these guys from the new school, and he doesn't like it. And Ace is Ace is Ace. Ace is, old school is, I don't know, Mountain Dew, something like he's not going to back down for a challenge. And you're right. He threw out the Steel Cage challenge. He offered some other options in there, but I think the fans want to see Hall and Montana in a steel cage. Montana's not going to back down from anybody. Jamie Hall, you got a problem with Ace Montana, then you're going to have to face it. You're going to have to climb that mountain at some point, bud.
Yeah, definitely. And, it seems like the fans really want to see Ace get his hands on Jamie Hall, and they are thoroughly behind Ace Montana, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens. I don't know when we'll see Ace again. I mean, obviously he's not on the next card, and neither is Jamie Hall. So
Yep.
I don't know when we'll see either one of them again, but something tells me this is not over by a long shot. And so I definitely look forwards to where this is going to go, because I know Ace is going to be like a dog with a bone. I'm sure he's not giving up easy. But then we went into our main event of the night, where we saw the Cake Boss, Victor Jones. We saw the Gatekeeper, Cisco, and Mr. Grimm. I'm going to try this. The Jasa Pasha.
Yep. You got it.
Okay. So we saw them going for that championship that Mr. Grimm currently holds and was able to retain, another great match, I tell you. And I don't envy anybody who steps in the ring with Mr. Grimm, but, these three men all put on one heck of a match, and I wasn't completely surprised that Grimm wasn't just able to run away with it, but at the same time, I haven't seen anybody who can handle Mr. Grimm, so I was kind of surprised in a way. How about you, Donnie?
Yeah, I was surprised. Not too surprised like you. Like, I know what Vic can do. Again, Vic, I've known Vic for a long time. We've seen Cisco with his Mid Atlantic run and everything. What Cisco can do and what the Gatekeeper brings to the table. But Grimm is a monster all in and of himself. He's all over the place all the time. Bringing in an international title that he can defend now at WDWA, and he's going to defend it again in the upcoming show. I think the thing that worried me most about that was when we asked Juan how to say it, and he's like, I don't know. I was like, man, if you don't know how to say it, we got no shot. But, it worked out. We had to go to Grimm himself to figure it out. He showed us the belt, nice belt. And, just whenever Grimm comes to town, I've not seen him bring the body bags into WDWA the last few shows, but he's stacking bodies, and that's what he's been doing for the last, decade or more.
Yeah, and one thing for sure, I don't want to mess up the name of that title, because I know when I asked Grimm how to say it, and he told me how to say it, and I looked at him, I said, we'll just call it the international title. He says, no. And he's, hold on. And he pulled the title out and he showed us that title, and I was like, Donnie will say it.
Yeah, but we asked his wife too, if you remember, and she's like, I'm not even trying. You got to ask him. And we're like, that's what we're trying to avoid, but ain't got anybody else to ask.
So that
Mr. Grimm for correcting our pronunciation of your international title. We got it now. We're all good. We'll be fine for the next defense.
I think I got it.
Yeah, I think we got it.
If nothing else, I'm just going to defer to you. That way, if it's wrong, he can come after you.
Yeah. It wouldn't be the first time. Well, it would be the first time I think Grimm's come after me, but there's been others.
Overall, just another great show, another great night, and I just don't know how they do it, but somehow these shows just keep getting bigger and bigger and better and better. And, every time you have a show, you leave thinking, wow, that was a great show. How can they top that one? And somehow they find a way to do it. You just can't imagine how they're going to top it sometimes, but they find a way. So, definitely another great night of action. But hopefully you guys did not miss that night of action because there was just so much action. But if you did miss that night of action, the good news is you can still get caught up on that night of action because every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, is front line. And, so you can always catch Frontline on Thursday nights. Juan does a heck of a job with Frontline, and so you can catch everything you missed, and you even catch some things that you didn't see when you were there because Juan is constantly catching the guys in the back, talking to them. He's catching things going on that we didn't even know happened from time to time. And so definitely check out Frontline, and we got a little thing here for Frontline. So check it out. Frontline every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern on youtube.com/wildpatriot22. Like I say, Juan does an awesome job with Frontline. I can't praise him enough for that. And, you hear Dashing Donnie Diablo on Frontline, and either myself or Steve Netz normally, as commentators. It's really remarkable to sit there and watch it and just see everything that went on that you missed, and definitely check it out. And then if you want to be a wrestler yourself, WDWA has its own wrestling school, that you guys should check out. And actually, there was just some news that came out here this past week. I don't know if you caught it, Donnie.
Yeah, I caught it. Caught it today.
Yeah, there's going to be a free tryout day at the school. No experience required, just heart, drive, and passion for pro wrestling. That's going to be on November 15th. 4127 Winchester Avenue in Martinsburg. It is the old fire hall for South Berkeley Fire Department. Go down there, give it a try, and, be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. You could be the next star of Frontline by doing that, so definitely check it out. Check out that training academy. You can scan that QR code at the bottom there. It'll take you to all the WDWA information, or you can call that phone number and they'll be more than happy to give you information about the wrestling school itself. So, definitely check that out if you have any aspirations to do anything in wrestling, whether you want to be a manager, a wrestler, commentator, whatever, ring announcer, definitely check out WDWA Academy. And, Gavin Jackson's there. He does some of the teaching. You have the Lightning Ryo. He does a lot of the teaching, and then they bring in others from time to time. You never know who's going to be there, so it'll definitely be something worth checking into. Tyler says he's going to check it out, so definitely, it would be great to see you doing something there, Tyler. You might be joining. If you check it out, you might just join the ranks of WDWA and be in a frontline episode yourself. So
maybe, I mean, if you've got the dream, if you got the itch, if you just want to see if you got what it takes to get out there and do what these guys and gals are doing, give it a shot. It's free. What are you going to lose? A little bit of time, a little bit of sweat, maybe a little bit of embarrassment, whatever. Maybe you realize, man, this isn't quite as easy as I thought it was. But these guys can build you up. They can take you where you want to go. If you got the desire, make sure you check it out. Free. I mean, free. Again, you got nothing to lose. There's no excuses. Nothing's between you and an opportunity.
Yeah. And another bit of information, I'm not sure if it's hit the Facebook page or not. If it did, I must have missed it. So I'm not 100% sure I'm supposed to be sharing this. But, Gavin Jackson himself must have put it in here, because when I came into the studio today, it was already there. So I guess I'm free to share this, So I guess this could be a little bit of breaking news. WDWA is dropping their schedule for next year's shows already. So 2026, plenty of action to catch coming up in 2026. There are all your dates. And so definitely be sure to check them out, and between now and August 29th is we're building the Berkeley Mania again, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be another awesome show. Just looking at stuff that is already taking place. It's hard to tell where that's going to go. You can see that there are 2 women's shows on there as usual. You have the women's Rumble and the other women's show. You have to forgive me. I'm having a hard time reading it, because it's a little bit smaller on my screen than hopefully it is on yours.
Broken Barriers would be that show. It looks like it's in June. I got close enough.
Yeah. So, I mean, definitely, so check that out. Keep your eye on the Facebook page. I'm sure it'll be popping up there soon. If I wasn't supposed to share it already, then, I apologize, but then you shouldn't have put it in there if you didn't want me to share it. But yeah, so definitely looking forward.
I'm glad you shared it. It's the first time seeing it, which kind of makes me upset, but whatever.
So yeah, it's definitely going to be something. And Susie says Code Red is on her birthday, so that's a party for Susie, I guess. Well, maybe we'll rename it to Susie's birthday party, so. And of course, we'll get into this soon, but Jackson wants to see me jump in the ring and go after Sam, so but we'll get into that. So, all right. I believe we are ready. Our guests are sitting backstage. They're waiting patiently. So I definitely want to get them in. We've already discussed them once tonight when we discussed our matches we discussed 2 out of the 3. When we discussed our matches. So they have a match coming up this next show as well. And, that is going to be another heck of a match to see, because it's another 6-man tag match where you are going to see the Freakshow versus the Syndicate.
Your buddy, our all Atlantic champion, the Belt Burglar herself, comes back.
you know, if I have to get involved, then that makes it a 4-on-3. But we'll see what happens. But let's go ahead and get them in here, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Freaky Doyle, Manchild, and the Freak Show. How we doing tonight?
Look, Freak's over there. We're good. We're great. We're fantastic. We're so excited to be here. Honored and a pleasure, of course, as always.
Well, we are happy to have you gentlemen here. As we say, unfortunately, Manchild wasn't able to make the last show, but we did get to see two of you, in a 6-man tag last show. But, you guys got to tag with Axel Crow, the clown. And so right off the bat, let's get your thoughts on Axel Crow.
Okay, so let me go first, if I may. And I don't want to talk over you. Is that okay? Okay, I got you. So anyhow, first of all, it is so great to have my best friend back. I'm so excited. And Freak and I think we had a great time with Axel Crow. Oddly enough, I think this is the first time that we ever had a clown in the Freak Show, which is kind of odd. But it was a great time. I loved it. And just so you do know, because I heard you talking about it earlier, we still do have Robbie Wayne's nose, specifically asked.
I was going to ask about that because, we did see Axel Crow steal that nose, and we never saw it get back to Robbie Wayne. So I was wondering about that.
I had to stop Freak from trying to eat it quite a few times, but we got there. So still there. We're going to leave it in the case with all the other curiosities.
And I'm sure if Manchild was there, he probably would have ate it, which wouldn't have been a good thing. That might have gave him indigestion, and he might have had to miss another match, and we wouldn't want that.
Yeah, there's no stopping him. It's really tough.
So, Donnie, you got anything for these guys? Because I don't want to take all the time here.
You got last show again. Manchild wasn't there, so we had to fill in with Axel Crow. You guys came out victorious. However, you had 3 guys, that really haven't seen a lot of action so far in WDWA, and what you got coming up this time is the Syndicate. So, Mr. Good Luck, Sam Adams, and the Brothers Gray. And the Brothers Gray, they're kind of on a dominant kick. They're on a winning kick. They just put out the Sigma Males a couple shows ago. So how do you think you guys are going to be able to match up against the Syndicate, who have already put things out saying exactly what they're going to do to you guys?
So, let's put it this way. Freak Show, it's pretty obvious. It's in the name, really. We always like that show. We have a great time, and we do it having fun ourselves, because that's what being a freak is all about. But the thing is, if I'm being completely honest, with the Syndicate, we've watched footage. We've seen them. Though we've never met one-on-one with these guys, we know to expect more. So, it's still going to be a show, guys, but we're definitely not going to take them for granted.
No, those are some big guys over there. But again, you've got, a big guy over there with you. Manchild, what do you have in store for the Brothers Gray? How do you think your presence in this match is going to change things? There we go.
Right out the ring.
I would say that's definitely an answer for you there.
Are you guys maybe going to eat before this match? Because going back to the last match, we didn't talk in depth about it. You guys, I think Robbie probably had to get a couple rabies, tetanus shots, whatever at the end. You guys were devouring that guy. It would make sense this show if you guys did some kind of zombie gimmick and everything and came out and you were just, eating on the Syndicate like you did poor Robbie Wayne that last show. Any plans on something like that going? I mean, I know it's kind of hard to expect anything with you guys in the ring.
Well, I definitely say I'm not partial to brains. Manchow's not so much. I can't speak so much for Freak though. He's the guy. So anyhow, Axel had an idea, and we ran with that idea. It was pretty good, and Freak, I mean, he knows exactly what he's doing. He got a good latch on there, and sometimes I think of the phrase, "If you can't stop them, just join them." So, yeah. Robbie tastes a little odd, though. I'm not gonna lie; it was a little weird. Not enough game.
It tastes like hot dog with a ketchup.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, obviously, a lot of people keep throwing it out there. This coming Saturday, I might just have to join the Freak Show myself, because when it comes to Sam Adams, he claims to be the All-Atlantic champion, and he stole my championship title, the FWWC Hardcore Championship, and is running around with it saying he is the All-Atlantic champion. And so far, since he did that, we haven't seen him, so I haven't been able to get it back, but I might have to join you guys to get that title back.
Well, I mean, the real question is, can you dance? Can you have fun? And do you want to be part of a show?
I can have fun. I don't know so much about the dancing part.
Hey, dancing is dancing.
It's not hard.
I mean,
I can do it better than everybody.
It's true. I've seen it. I've seen him do it quite a lot. A lot. Sometimes even while we're trying to get ready to come out for the match. But anyhow, you are always most definitely welcome in the Freak Show.
I mean, hey, if
Always welcome. Always welcome.
if he does come out there to help you guys, make sure you take care of him, because I'm not sure where you're at on the show at this point, but I might need some help come later on in the show. I don't want to necessarily go solo the whole time, but
I mean,
I don't know. I could have
if I may, I'll always have your back, and I know Freak will have your back, but we got this. We're good. I mean, Sam.
Yeah, imagine
Sam,
the second half.
A lot of Sam's
no
work.
remorse.
I know it's going to be. Sorry, I apologize. Go ahead.
Oh, that's not.
You were saying,
No, go ahead.
Donnie?
I was just going to say, can you imagine the second half of the show being me on commentary with Manchild or the Freak? I think Freaky Doyle will do all right. But
the tough part is trying to shut him up sometimes. I'm not going to lie. I just can't, especially if you give him a little too many sugar things. But no, I mean, Sam Adams is, I've seen a lot of Sam Adams, and I know, there's no way that we can even walk into this match and even slightly think that everything is going to go according to plan, because I've seen men like Sam Adams alone and know that things don't ever go according to plan. So we have a few tricks up our sleeves too.
Well,
No plans.
It's definitely going to be an interesting match, I'm sure. It's always a great time when we see Freak Show in the ring. So how did the three of you actually come together?
Well, I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, there's a lot of history. My good friend here and I mean, he's been wrestling, and I saw something in him, and I saw a little more than I think most people ever have, really, honestly. And at that point, I've approached him, and we discussed things. And I mean, again, took him over to his favorite candy buffet. We had a long conversation. I got about 2 or 3 words in there edgewise, and the fun fact is that I actually started managing Manchild. And when I started to learn a little bit more under his wing, he taught me a lot of what I know. And then when we came to WDWA, we met Freak, and we knew right away that that is just the perfect fit to the Freak Show. I mean, there was no question. It was fate. We looked down the hall, we saw the Freak standing there, and we just looked at each other and said, "This guy, we need this guy. He's part of us."
They pay well too.
Always got to pay well. Take care of you.
Freak's got the whole, I don't know if you guys remember Dr. Robotnik from Sonic the Hedgehog, but he's got that whole Dr. Robotnik thing going on tonight. So,
you know, I definitely do have to say, though, the Freak fits in to the Freak Show, you know, quite well. And, you know, so it was like a match made in heaven for you guys. And I definitely look forward to seeing more out of Freak Show. So, you know, what more can we look forward to? Where do you see things going from here?
Well, I mean, I think it's the ever so obvious answer with us three: tag belts at some point. We are going to work our butts off to be the top of the tag team division for the WDWA, because we respect everything that WDWA has to offer. And we also are not only going to strive to be the best, but to put on the best show, because ultimately that's what it's all about. That's what we do. And dancing, and lots of dancing, a little bit of biting, and a lot of candy.
And more biting. And shiny too. I like shiny.
Freak knows what he likes, and he likes the shinies. So if you guys do get a shot at our current tag champions being Sakar Shaw and Clay Jacobs, you guys, you know, what combination of you are going to defend those? Are you going to do the whole Freebird thing, or do they change it? You could do Freak Show rules. You never know which two guys are going to be in there.
Well, it would not be a strange thing for us to do Freak Show rules. We call them the Freak Bird rules. But anyhow, we would never take either of those gentlemen lightly. So we would have to have a discussion between the three of us to see who we truly think can get the job done. Both competitors are fantastic. We have, Manchild and myself have already been in the ring with one of the two. So we know a little bit more of what to expect, but Freak is never a down and out contender. He is always somebody that can get a job done when you need him to.
Big mountains to climb. We climb them all day.
Freak's definitely, you know, the Freak. You never know what you're going to expect from the guy. You know, you're right. He does bring it. And again, you don't know what he's going to bring until it's happened. And then you're sometimes left scratching your head, wondering why, how you're going to actually describe what he's doing right now. So, you know.
But you always get that show.
You do. You can't argue that, you know, the three of you or any one of you individually don't put on a show every time you step through those ropes. So, you know, I think that's what the fans really dig about you guys, with, you know, why you guys are so hot right now in WDWA, and why you're getting, you know, these chances to perform so much. The people want to see you, and Gavin wants to give the people what they want to see.
Well, we want to give the people what they want to see. We're also very thankful for Gavin and everybody that has the hope for us. We are more than honored to be part of the team, and we are more than happy to put on that show every time we come out.
Yeah, and we definitely love to see you guys put on a show for us. So if by some some chance your opponents are watching, what do you have to say to them?
I mean, it's about the show. At the end of the day, it's about the show, but no matter what show we put on, at the end of that show, it will be with the freaks victorious.
Yes.
So here's a funny comment I just picked up over here. I mean, this is kind of outside, not really outside the point, but this is a question for Freak. So Susie's saying the first time you guys saw Freak, he licked your head, John. So I want to ask Freak what that tastes like, because you told us what Robbie Wayne tastes like. So what did John's head taste like on that particular night?
It tastes like cowhide. Yeah. Need less salt.
Salty leather hurt.
You're not going to lick his head, are you? Yeah, you might lick his head. He might lick his head. I will.
Whose head are we licking?
I think it's John's again. For a guy who's not in the ring, John sees more action than any commentator I've ever seen in my life. It's crazy. It's crazy. And you're on mute, buddy.
Oh, John, I'll do my best to keep Manchild back, but you might have another time.
I don't know how I get into so much. Honestly, my belt got stolen. I'm trying to get that back. Ace kissed me last show. How I get into this stuff, I don't know. But
better than you than me there. So
he likes it all. He likes it.
I think he does, Freak. I think you're right. He likes the attention.
So, Freak, what can we expect out of you next show?
You never know what to expect out of me, but there might be some biting, some checking the oil. There could be some beating people up, some getting beat up. Who knows? But we gonna have some fun, because that's all it's about. It's about fun.
All right. Well, I would definitely say that there's a lot of fun coming next show. And, Susie seems to think we're going to see some dancing out of the Freak. And
Yeah.
And, I would ask Manchild what to expect out of him next show, but, he's already showed us what to expect out of him. He already threw his figures out of the ring. There goes another one. So, all right, gentlemen. Any last words before we let you go tonight?
I don't believe so, but it was definitely a pleasure being on the show. Thank you very much for having us.
Always a pleasure. Yes.
It was great having you guys on. Thanks for joining us. Can't wait to see what you guys do matched up next show against the Syndicate and for Manchild, Let's Go Rangers, because I think you're wearing a Pittsburgh shirt there, and I don't really like that.
Susie wants to know if that was a Joey figurine. I think they mean Joe Lance, the ref.
No, it was a Mark Charles III, who is also a ref.
Oh. So, in other words, the refs better watch out. Got it.
Sometimes, yes.
So he'll be throwing his opponents out of the ring and the refs out of the ring.
If I can't stop him quick enough, then yeah, probably. Everybody.
If it's Joe Lance, he go flying.
So, all right, gentlemen, thank you for being here tonight. And, good luck come Saturday. We definitely always love to see the Freak Show. So thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the Freak Show, ladies and gentlemen, you know, always a great time with Freak Show.
Yeah, that was just as crazy as I thought it was going to be. Maybe even a little more. But like we've said, you don't know what they're going to do. You can't predict it. You know.
So, we're getting ready to get to the fans weigh in. If you want to be our fan tonight, I have sent out a couple messages. I don't think people have seen them that I've sent out. But if you want to be our fan tonight, go ahead and drop a comment in there right now, letting me know you want to be the fan, and I'll make sure you get the link. But while I wait to see there, as always, I want to just give you a quick update on Wrestle Talk podcast. You see Wrestle Talk every other Thursday night when you don't see our Elevation show here, and you see it on Wrestle Talk podcast YouTube page where some of you are watching this. You see it on the Facebook page where some of you are watching this. It's always a lot of fun on there as well. We talk a lot of wrestling from both the indies and professional, and we get a lot of the hard-hitting questions. That the interview coming up this time is going to be another rescheduled interview. We are going to have Hollywood on there. We were supposed to have her before. She had to reschedule. If you don't know who Hollywood is, she is one of the original Glow Girls. So, definitely going to be a great interview with her. And so let's go ahead and hit a quick video here for the Wrestle Talk podcast. All right. So Wrestle Talk podcast, be sure to check us out every other Thursday night. It's always a great time on Wrestle Talk, just as we do here. We have a great time with each other, and, still looking for somebody for that fans weigh-in.
Right. You guys got to hurry up. Otherwise, I'll have my dog come over here. He's sitting back there. I don't know that he would be the greatest at picking the outcome of the matches, but I'm betting he would probably do better than Gavin has so far. I think he's in last. So I think, John, you're like way in first.
And Susie says that Luke McCarron should do the weigh-in, but
I agree. I saw that when she put it up. I think that would be great if Luke
was here, it would be, but unfortunately he's not here. So or at least I haven't seen him here. I'll put it to you that way. But
who else is out there? I saw it in there somewhere, Luchador. So maybe he can weigh in. Susie's been common enough. She can be.
Yeah, well,
Jason Curtis.
I just sent her the link if she wants to come on. And I've sent it to a couple other people as well, and haven't heard anything back from any of them. But real quick, so real quick here, I'm going to go ahead and just fill you in a little bit on the FWWC. We mentioned it earlier that the FWWC, I am the hardcore champion there, and I'm missing my title, and so I got to get that back from Sam Adams. But the FWWC is a fantasy wrestling worldwide chapter. Um, you have fantasy football, fantasy baseball, all these different fantasy sports. Well, we're fantasy wrestling, and what we do is, we make promos where we trash talk each other and just have a really good time doing that. And then we actually do picks using WWE shows, and through those, we actually have matches against each other, and our matches are determined by our picks. And so the person who picks the most right is the winner of the match. And on Facebook, we do role play, where you can actually read what happens in our matches. And there was a time that, Donnie, you were in the FWWC. I think it might have been called something else at that point, because it's been a little bit back since you were there, but
Yeah,
you were actually part of it.
Yeah, it was a long, long time ago. I was, I think the longest UXT, NXT, whatever champion it was at the time. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was funny because when I was coming in, it had the tagline, which I just put WDWA Frontline. I wanted so badly to put something on there about Mata, but I was like, the minute I do it, he's going to pop in here and he's going to boot me out of the program, and you're just going to be on by yourself the whole time. Even if it's not anything bad, like I didn't know. I was like, I'll just play it safe tonight. But yeah, it's crazy. Often, I want to say often duplicated, but no one's quite at that level. Because I see other groups that somehow filtered into my feeds, and I see on Facebook and everything, and it's not even close to the same. If you want to be in the big leagues of fantasy wrestling, FWWC is the place you need to go. I was part of a faction that a lot of us were a part of at the time. You guys are a part of it. I think if it's still around, La Familia, I was part of the New York chapter of that for a while.
We're still around. We're not doing a whole lot. We're not as active right now, but we're still there. We're back in the shadows. If we're needed, we'll pop up. But let me go ahead and play a little something here for FWWC.
Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter, where the world's smartest wrestling fans come together to compete for real championships. Original characters, trash talking, picks during live events, pay-per-views, and even get-togethers like bowling, ice skating, and pool tournaments as well. We have members from across the globe who will stop at nothing to climb to the top of the fantasy wrestling power rankings. Simply the best fantasy wrestling group in the world. Why? Because of you, the creative and active members of the Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter.
So yeah, that's the FWWC. Check us out on Facebook, Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide Chapter. When you click to join, there'll be a few questions there you'll have to answer. Basically, it just explains to you that we do role play and stuff, and asks you, are you willing to do role play? Explains to you we develop our own characters. Asks you, are you willing to develop your character? Basically that type of thing.
Like, you guys don't skimp on the belts or anything either. These are custom made belts. I'm telling you, these belts rival any belt that you would win legit in any indie company or even some of the bigger companies across the world. Like, these are some nice titles. I know you got a guy that's making them for you now. So it's just come so far in the last decade and everything. So definitely check these guys out. Oh, there we go.
Got the Night Owl checking in.
I told you at some point the Night Owl Monta was going to show up. I knew at some point he had to pop in. I just didn't know when. And he might have been here the whole time. I just haven't been able to see the comments most of the time. I wasn't really paying attention to it.
All right. Well, we've talked about the last show. We've talked with Freakshow. So we have coming up. I see Susie trying to get ready in the back there. She keeps popping in and out, but I see her trying to get ready. But our next show is this coming Saturday night. Can you believe it's here already? And that's going to be Last Rites, which will be taking place at the South Berkeley Fire Hall in Inwood, West Virginia. Doors open 5:30 p.m. Bell time 6:15. If you are close to Inwood, that's the place you want to be. WDWA Wrestling, they're always raising the bar, always, just getting more and more exciting as it goes. You never know what's going to happen, especially with, Sam Adams going to be in the building with my title that I'm bound and determined to get back in. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. Last time I tried to go after him, security stopped me. I'd gotten the face of Brothers Gray. Security stopped me again. So I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm getting my title back this weekend, one way or the other. But,
So if Renee's still on there, maybe you fly into West Virginia and you could if something happens to John, God forbid, you can come over and do commentary with me for a little bit. Because otherwise, I talked to the Freak Show guys. I don't know. And Chowder Freak's going to really help me out a whole lot.
But, so it's going to be Last Rites this Saturday night. Be sure to be there. And we're going to have a good time. So let's see if we can get her in here. So for our fan of the night here, we're going to bring in the one and only. Well, let me give her a second here. She was standing on her head here a second. Now, there we go. Now she's right. Now she's out. Now she's okay. Hopefully we've got her here. So let's go ahead and get her in here and see what happens. Miss Susie Haas, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, was that a proper introduction? You didn't give the whole badass American diva thing. She's a champ. Look at that. She's got that gold on her shoulder right there. The gold that you lost and you're trying to get back this week.
Yeah, but I'm going to get it. So are you there with us, Susie? We can't hear you. You're muted.
There it goes.
There you go.
There I am.
There you go.
Check it out. Y'all see who that is, right? It's the
I can't make it
WDWA
out from here.
calendar.
Oh, she's got
nice.
the WDWA calendar in the background.
Mr. Clay Jacobs.
So, and Andrew shouting out to Susie there says, Bad Diva has arrived.
You guys know it.
So you've
John,
been in the back.
We were on like last year. They should have put us on there. I mean, we could have did the whole George Costanza on the couch, pose or something.
Well, it wasn't until late last year that I came into commentating with you. So, that's one of the reasons I wasn't on it. But they did take our picture though not too long ago. Maybe Gavin will use it this year. Who knows?
Hey, it's possible. Anything's possible.
Especially
Especially when you're talking about the FWWC and or the WDWA.
After all, people do need something to keep the mice away.
You said it, John. I didn't, although I thought it, but I wasn't going to say it. See, I was going to be nice,
but we, like I said, we talked about last show. We've talked about the fact that this Saturday is Last Rites, and all the matches have been announced. So let's get into to picking some matches here. Let me get my paper set up here so that I can track who we think is going to win. So our first match we're going to talk about is going to see one half of our tag champs, the Exiles, Zakar Shaw, versus a newcomer to WDWA. And, I don't know much about him. I don't know if you know much about him at all there, Donnie. But Al Snook, have you heard of Al Snook, Donnie?
Yeah, I've heard of Snook. I've seen some of Al Snook stuff. You know, I know he's a decorated competitor. He's wrestled, you know, a lot up in Pennsylvania and some different areas. So he's got a pedigree behind him for sure. He's faced some tough opponents, and I know he's held some gold in some other companies. It's the first time he's with us, and all of us know firsthand what Zakar Shaw can do and what Zakar Shaw can go through. And Zakar, he can take a lot of punishment. He can deal a lot of punishment. So I don't know. I'm gonna start out, I guess, and pick this one first. Even though, like I said, I know what he can do. I know what he likes to do, but I don't see anybody coming into Zakar Shaw's yard and taking him out on their first try.
Yeah, I think I
All right.
have to agree with Donnie. I don't see anybody walking in and you know, putting Zakar down. Not in his house.
You know, and I'm going to have to go with y'all as well. You know, I don't know much about him. I can say though, looking at the talent that we have in WDWA, I know that Al Snook has to be a very talented superstar. He has to be well known in the areas that he's coming from. You know, because all the guys that we get at WDWA are very talented guys and some of the top in their game. But, you know, to be coming in, I gotta give it to Zakar. You know, he's going to be tough to beat. So definitely looks like we all agree on that one, that, you know, on Zakar. So nobody left on the island yet, but then
You'll be there before the night's out, John.
I'm sure I probably will. But then, you know, we're going to see a match. It's going to be a tag team match, and it's going to have Ivan Ali and Axel Crow, which this is not the first time these two are tagging together.
No.
You know, the first time we saw Axel Crow in WDWA, he was tagging with Ivan Ali. You know, Ivan said then that he made a call to a friend, and Axel was the one that came out. So, and I do know they both are kind of from the same area. You know, the Carnival of Souls, I believe, is close to Virginia Beach, where Ivan Ali is from. And, you know, they're going to be tagging against Legion. And we know the history there between Legion and Axel Crow. You know, we saw that ambulance match between Bo and Wraith. You know, we saw where Sean Phoenix turned on Axel Crow after joining Legion. And we saw Sean Phoenix come out during that ambulance match. And we saw Axel come out and even the odds. So, you know, we know the history there. And what's your thoughts on that match, Susie?
You know, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, and anybody who knows me will tell you I'm a huge fan of Axel Crow's. I was one of the happiest people in the world when Axel you know, came to WDWA. I'm also a huge fan of Ali's. You know, he's a great guy. He really is. And Legion, you know, my personal opinion, I think Ali and Axel could take this one. And all I've got to say is I just hope if Axel decides to steal noses this time, that he's real careful when he gets close to that gremlin, that dog face gremlin, you know, Wraith or whatever. I don't know if I'd want him to bite me unless he's had his rabies shots.
All right, Donnie, what's your thoughts on that one?
Well, my thoughts initially are, what form of Legion are we going to get? And I mean, after the ambulance match, how recovered is the demon child Wraith? I don't know. I mean, we hadn't really seen him register pain as much until that ambulance match. And then after you're dropped on your head 3 times on the concrete in a concrete chair, slammed in the back of the, God knows how many times he got his head slammed in the ambulance doors. Like, I'm sure we lost count. And anybody was playing a drinking game at home, they're probably dead right now. But like it was one of those crazy matches. So is Wraith 100%, and are we getting Sean Phoenix, or are we getting Legion? It's kind of hard to tell from the poster. So I don't know, but seeing Ali and Axel team the time we saw them work together before, and just it seems like any team or anywhere you put Axel Crow, he shows up and shows out and does what only he can do, and some things you didn't think he could do or wouldn't imagine he would do, he goes ahead and does them, and just leaves you speechless after every show. So I even with the dark advantage that is Dex in the corner, I think I got to go with Crow and Ali.
All right. So, this one for me, it's going to be a hard one to call. It really is, because, as it's already been said, I love Axel Crow too. Axel is a great guy, and Ivan Ali, how can you go against somebody like Ali? He is a mountain of a man, and he's going to be hard to take down. But on the other side of things, you've got Legion, and no matter what, it's at least a 3-on-2, because Dex is in that corner. So you got to watch Dex no matter what. But is Titan going to be there? I don't know. So it could be a 4-on-2, because you got to keep that in the back of your mind, because you never know where he is. And, Jackson, he's pointing out that darker side, that darker look for Sean Phoenix now. And, you can see him there in the middle. It is a very dark look. But Axel does have a grudge to grind with him after that victory over him, and then him turning on him the way he did. But I think Dex is going to make sure Axel gets punished for turning him down. So as much as I hate to do it, I think I'm going to go with Legion on this one, because I just see where, you gotta have, it's just the retribution that they're going to want to have on against Axel, and they're going to want to prove that even though Wraith went in that ambulance, that he's still a force to be reckoned with. And Sean Phoenix, he was on a losing streak before giving his soul to the devil. Now he sold his soul to the devil to try to get on the winning side of things.
The only one who actually did it willingly too. This man surrendered himself. Like it wasn't stolen like Wraith or like Titan was. This guy willingly gave himself up.
So I think I'm going to have to go with Legion.
Valid points.
So, I'll go out on the island on this one. As much as I hate to go against Axel, like I say, I love Axel to death, but I think Legion's, I think they're just going to pull something to come out. But then we're going to see Jordan Evans versus Tyler Hastings. Not Ty Awesome, Tyler Hastings. We've seen that attitude change from Tyler Hastings. He's no longer Ty Awesome. He's no longer the nice guy. He's no longer the man he used to be that fans absolutely loved. He still the guy with the supply, but now it's Tyler Hastings. So we're going to see Jordan Evans and Tyler Hastings go against each other. And, Tyler, he was kind of on a losing streak, and that's when he snapped. Now, as Tyler Hastings, he still lost.
He chose to. He walked out of that match. He thought that match was beneath him, and he stated that. So
exactly, that's true. And that's another change that we've seen, because we would have never seen Ty Awesome walk out of a match. Never.
nope.
I just want to know, he calls himself the guy with the supply. Supply of what? What is he supplying? I mean, before I would have said, before he did this heel turn, I'd have said the guy with the supply of talent, because he did seem like a very talented guy. He was trained by some of the greatest guys in the business. But now that he's done this, well, I'm losing, so now I'm taking my toys and going home. What's he got a supply of? A supply of whininess? A supply of losing? A supply of can't get it back?
He still has a lot of talent. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's still got a lot of talent. He didn't lose the talent just because of his attitude change. Beforehand, I would have said he had a supply of awesomeness. And now I'm not so sure, because that awesomeness is just gone. And he has a supply of not giving a damn.
Yeah. I guess.
I don't know. I would say Ty at this point as a supply of surprises, because we don't know what Ty we're going to get. We've seen things just in the one match since he made this change that we never thought we would see out of Tyler Hastings, Ty Awesome at all. To walk out of a title fight, and that wasn't a match. That was definitely a fight. It ended up becoming sanctioned and become a match, but that's not something that you see Ty do. Yeah, Ty will get beat, but he's going to fight you tooth and nail from end to end. And he took the count out. He gave up. In the promo that he was talking about, this is one of the guys he called out. He said, I deserve to be in the ring with Ken Anderson, with all these other guys, with Eric Young. And he mentioned he deserved to be in the ring with Jordan Evans. So how is that going to play into things? Jordan Evans being one of the only guys that's regularly on our shows and on the roster. This is the one guy you called out out of everybody else on the roster. Champions, no champions, anything else. You specifically called out Jordan Evans.
All I'm going to say is, Ty, if you're watching, careful what you wish for, because it could be your bad luck.
So, all right, let's go ahead and make our picks here. Who do we think? I've seen several fans. Sheila seems to think that Jordan's going to win it. Linda seems to think that Jordan's going to win it.
I think Jordan's going to win it.
All right, so Susie's going to go with Jordan.
I'm going to go with Juan. I just saw his comment down there. This is the Tyler Hastings. This is what he wanted to see Ty Awesome kind of grow up into, and I agree with that. And I think Tyler Hastings is going to come out and shock people later. He's going to open that bag of surprises. He's going to show us that he's as good as he says he is, as he thinks he is, and as people thought he was. He's just going to remind them. So I got to go with Ty.
Yeah, I got to go with you on this one, Donnie. I think Tyler's gonna come out with a victory on this one. I don't want to say on top, because I don't see it being a clean win, but I think he will win. This new Tyler Hastings, he's resorting to things that we never thought we'd see Ty Awesome resort to. And honestly, Ty Awesome, I don't think we would have ever seen him resort to these things. So, I got to go with Tyler on this one. So, all right. So this time, I guess Susie's left on the island.
Right.
It's nice and quiet out here.
So next, we're going to see a match that, wow, I mean, I don't even know what to say on this one, because we are going to see the Joshua Pasha's International Championship match between Shane Malice versus Mr. Grimm. I don't even know what to say. I mean, we have talked at length about Mr. Grimm and what he can do, but we've also seen what Shane Malice can do. And the way Mr. Grimm can manhandle people, I've never seen Shane Malice manhandled the way that Mr. Grimm does others. Of course, I've seen Mr. Grimm manhandle some people that I didn't expect him to manhandle the way he did before as well. So I don't know. Donnie, what do you think on this match?
Yeah, of course, you're starting with me on this one, man. Like the Jacha International Championship up for grabs again, second show in a row. We talked a lot about Graham, and everybody knows Malice's pedigree. Steve, I know, is a huge Shane Malice fan. Malice is one of the most decorated guys in WDWA, and everybody knows it. And he will let everybody know it. Rest assured. If you didn't know, you're going to know, because he's definitely going to preach it, before he puts the show on. But so tough. Like, I know he's had a lot of stuff going on here lately. His son Gavin, I think, just graduated out of Fort Sill in the Army. I know he's been traveling quite a bit. So I don't know that he's been given proper notice or able to really prepare for the fight that Mr. Grimm is going to bring. Shane's dominant, but it's Mr. Grimm, and I don't know. I don't hate to necessarily do it, because the way Grimm's been rolling right now, you'd be crazy to vote against them. I'm not saying I don't think there's any way Malice is going to come out, and pull something out of this match, because that's not what I'm going with. But Grimm is a beast in and of itself, and I just don't see, especially this young in this title reign, I don't see anybody taking that Jacha off him anytime soon. I honestly don't. I got to go with Grimm.
Yeah, and like Juan points out here, Malice has been on a losing streak as of recent in WDWA. Grimm has been unstoppable, not only in WDWA, but everywhere around. And Juan says he loves Malice, but he thinks Grimm's got this one. And I can't disagree, because Juan put out there everything I was thinking, because Shane, he has been, when he's on his own, he's been on a losing streak. When he was tagging with his son, they got a few wins. But on his own, when he wasn't tagging with his son before his son came into WDWA, and since his son went off to the services, Shane's just been on a losing streak. He really has. And I don't see him snapping that losing streak against Grimm. If it was anybody else, I could see Shane, proving himself that he's still got what it takes. But against Grimm, I'm sorry, Shane, I have got to go with Grimm on this one.
Susie, you're up. I don't think she's going to be on the island on this one. I think we're all on the same boat.
I got to say, I've always been a huge Shane Malice fan. Like him, hate him. He's got an ego, and we all know it. And he's not above telling you how good he is, and he is good. This is somebody who I think we could one day see in something like the WWE or, AEW or any of those places. He's that good. But like you guys have all both said, Grimm's been on a roll, and I mean, he's got 3 titles, and yeah, he's definitely not gonna just sit still and let you take the title. I think that if Shane comes to the ring with the same attitude, I'm the best, I can beat anybody, and I don't, if he comes with that attitude of where he's going to completely and totally disrespect Grimm, he's going to walk out a loser. So unless he comes to the ring with a different attitude and a different outlook, I think Grimm's going to walk away with this one, and I hate to say that. I've spoken out in different places. Sasha Banks now has what, 12 titles, and to me, the more titles that you hang on somebody, the less they work to maintain those titles, the less they work because they just think that they're everything. But I don't see that in Grimm. I don't see that in him. I see him as being appreciative of the titles he's got, and he works hard to keep them. So I don't think that even the great Shane Malice is going to just walk in and take it from him. So if Shane manages to win it, it ain't going to be easy. But I just don't see. I'm sorry, Shane. I love you, but yeah, I just see Grimm walking out with it.
All right. Well, we're all in agreement that Grimm will retain the Joshua Pasha International Championship.
The what's its name?
That's a Pacha. We got that down.
What you call it? Title.
or we at least got close enough that I don't think Grimm's going to beat us for not having it. I felt like if I didn't at least try to pronounce that name, Grimm was going to. I better run. So, and I don't run. So hey, but
hey, if I see you running, I'm running too, because you're probably running from something, right? That's going to hurt me.
But then another great match that's coming up. We have a 6-man scramble Mid-Atlantic Championship match. And we're going to see Bo Ross, Sean Cannon, Party McFly, Tommy Vex, and we're going to see Steele versus Ranch Hand Carlson in a 6-man scramble. Wow.
Well, the question is, did Ranch Hand want this? Is this how he wants to defend his title against six of these dudes at once? Or did he really piss Gallon off, or is somebody so bad that they're actively after him? That's the question that we got to ask here, because that's a stacked lineup. I mean, Cannon, Ross, Vex, Party McFly, and Nino Still. Like, I don't know what you did, pal, but glad it wasn't me.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Nino Steele before in WDWA. He's been a tough competitor, and so he definitely deserves a shot at a championship. Tommy Vex, everybody has come to love Tommy Vex, and as long as there's no whipped cream involved, Tommy is a tough competitor. Now you get him with the whipped cream, and of course he's got that lactose intolerance, and
Yep, Dr. Pepper said he's highly allergic.
Yeah, so I mean, but then you got Party McFly. He's been a tag champion before. I believe he's held the light heavyweight championship. I believe. I could be wrong on that.
I think you're right on that.
So to hold the Mid-Atlantic Championship, that, just be another notch on his belt. And Party is another one that the crowd just loves to get behind. Then, you've got Sean Cannon, who he's held the Mid-Atlantic Championship before.
Right. And the misused tag titles that they just dropped. And who's to say if Sean's there, is Jimmy going to be there with him?
Well, and he's been a tag champion in WDWA at least twice.
Right.
So he's prone to hold titles. He can hold them. And then you've got Bo Ross, who also has held titles. So this is going to be a very stacked match, and another hard one to call. But every one of these men, and yes, I'm going to say it even with Sean Cannon in the mix, every one of these men is worthy of holding a championship at WDWA. Just from their pedigree. And, honestly, I'm going to have to take Ranch Hand to retain, though. And I'm like you. I don't know. I don't know who he pissed off. I don't know what he did, but to be put in this match, but I think he's going to come out on top. I really do. Ranch Hand is one heck of a champion. He's a fighting champion, and he's come out, on some odds that people just didn't think he could do before. So I'm going to go with Ranch Hand on this one.
Yeah, and you're right. It's a tough call either way. Any one of these guys is capable of holding that title. They would be a worthy champion. Nino still, he's very impressive. Big guy. Really kind of reminds me, at least build-wise and everything, of a guy like Rhino and everything. He's a monster. And he's only getting better every time we see him. Sean Cannon, love Sean Cannon and Jimmy Stars. He's, the misused. Sean was an amazing Mid-Atlantic champion when he held it. Bo's held that title before. Party, we've talked about losing streaks. Party's been sort of on a losing streak as well, but he's not really losing for the same reasons. Party's been in there with some guys that have taken advantage. He was just in there with Jamie Hall. Jamie Hall used Danica twice to for a couple snap it shots in that match, and was able to pull it out once he hooked him in to his Cobra Clutch. And Vex, we haven't seen Vex in a while. Vex, you mentioned it, for whatever reason, is becoming incredibly popular, but I got to go with let me get the shirt on and just scroll back a little bit. There we go. The Ranch Hand Carlson. Got to stay with Ranch Hand. If I would have thought about it, I would have brought the little cowbell up and just been ringing it the whole time. But, that might have been a little overly obnoxious.
All right, Susie?
I think Bo Ross is overdue. I really do. I think he is overlooked. I think he's overdue. And it would be great to see Bo get this. However, I mean, as much as I love Bo, I don't think Bo's going to take it. I'm a big Party fan. I don't see Party walking out with it. I think if there's anyone that's going to walk out of it other than Carlson, it would be Sean, because, he's misuses proof time and time again that they're not always about winning the match as much as they are doing whatever it takes. And he's not above a little underhandedness. You mentioned his partner. Is Jimmy going to be there? Most likely, yes. And it wouldn't surprise me if Jimmy doesn't factor into this somehow. So I could see him winning it. If Jimmy's not there, then I could see Ranch Hand walking out with it still, and Ranch Hand holding it. Like John said a minute ago, any one of these guys is worthy of this championship, and any one of them is able to do it. The question is, who wants it more? Who is going to do whatever it takes to get it, or in Ranch Hand's case, keep it? And I think Ranch Hand has proved that he doesn't care if the fans like him or not. He's going to do what he has to do to keep it too. So I think I'm going to lean more toward Ranch Hand, but I could also see Jimmy walking out with it. Sean walking out with it. He's, like I said, he's proven before he'll do whatever it takes to win a title. And once he wins it, he'll do whatever it takes to hold on to it. So I could see him taking the title, and I could see him becoming the champ.
All right. Well, we're winding down here. Only got a couple matches left to discuss. So a match we discussed earlier in great length. We've got the Freak Show versus the Syndicate. You've heard thoughts from me on this match already. We've heard thoughts from Donnie on this match. So, Susie, let's go ahead and start with you. What are your thoughts on the Freak Show versus the Syndicate?
Well,
and real quick, just so you know, Freak Show is, well, 2 of Freak Show is still in the back. So if you misspeak, man child might eat your nose or something at the next show.
Yeah, I got to tell you, the Syndicate is a good team. They really are. And Sam Adams is no slouch. He really isn't. He's a great wrestler. However, I think Sam's made an enemy that if that enemy steps in to take revenge or to get back what is his personal property, I could see that being a distraction on Sam and costing the Syndicate this match. I could see the freak. Not sure what that noise is,
It's my dog.
but I could see.
One of the dogs.
Oh, okay. For a minute I thought that was Manchild having a tantrum in the back. Okay, but I could see the Freak Show taking this match. I really could. And like I said, with Sam being out there and Sam doing what he's done, I could see a distraction coming, and I could see Sam not only walking out beltless that night, but I could also see the Syndicate paying for Sam's crime. So I'm gonna go Freak Show on this one.
All
Yeah.
right.
I wanna go with the Syndicate. I really do, and Sam. But I've been sitting beside you for many shows now, and I know how this has really been an issue. I was behind you, behind security, behind you when you confronted the Brothers Gray. They would have eventually got to me after they ran through the other 8 or 9 guys. So, like, I know how bad you want this. Yeah, I got to go with the Freak Show. I don't know. It was kind of weird. We all just did like a little reboot thing at the same time, but I got to go with Freak Show on this just because we know there's one large obstacle in the way of Sam Adams and the Syndicate, and I don't see any other reinforcements that they're going to be able to pull out. So just numbers alone, it's a 4-on-3 at the very least.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm going with the Freak Show on this. Sam, he has my title. I want my title back. I don't know if security is going to get out of my way and let me get my title back. But of course, then again, after this, by the time I get my title back, you might be by yourself because, Gavin might just fire me if I have to get into this, but, hopefully not. But, yeah.
Don't forget though, John, that if you need it, you have a secret weapon.
So, hopefully things will go my way. I'll get my title back. And not only will Freak Show win their match, Sam Adams will no longer be the All-Atlantic champion, which makes absolutely no damn sense because if you're the All-Atlantic champion, what are you, Aquaman underwater? But, that is what it is. So, yeah, I'm going with Freak Show on that. I haven't been afraid of Brothers Gray. I got in their face. I've been seeking Sam. I think I've shown that I'm not afraid of Sam. But, obviously I'm not in this match. We do have to remember that. And, I don't want to cost anybody the match, but I think Freak Show will come out on top. So, all right. One more match to discuss here. And that is a women's championship match that sees our champion, Temptatious Tiffany Grady, versus Big Daddy Adriana Mosley. I don't know a whole lot about Mosley, so that, do you know anything,
Pretty
Donnie?
familiar with Big Daddy. Yeah, pretty familiar with Big Daddy, Adriana Mosley. Wrestles a lot out of Delaware, 1CW. I saw her in Philly. She was with NWA during the 76 of the Crockett Cup show. And she's done a few shows with NWA and everything as well, traveling with them. So she's definitely got the talent, definitely got the drive. And she's, I don't know. Tiff's going to have to pull something out, but we know Tiff's got all the cards up her sleeve. We've seen her, C-Rex. We saw what she did to C-Rex, and she figured out the only way, more than likely, she was going to get by C-Rex because nothing was phasing that monster. And she took an ingenious way out of it. The Guerrero special worked, fortunately for her. But what is Tiff going to have to do to hold on to that title against Big Daddy Adriana? There's got to be tricks. There's got to be some kind of shenanigans. You got to remember Jason Curtis, Big Jason Curtis. He's been getting paid by her. He's in her corner. We've seen Sage Santiago as well, her personal announcer, interfere on her behalf. I got to go with Tiff.
I agree. I mean, she's got Jason in her corner. And Jason has already proven he wasn't afraid to hop in there with T-Rex, even though it kind of cost him a little bit. Jason has proven before, when he was the bodyguard with Barbie. What was her name, John?
Valerie Verman.
Yeah, that one. When him and Verman were, he was her bodyguard. She would distract the ref and he would pop her opponent. He didn't care. And so Jason has proven that I don't know if he's more of an asset or if he could at some point become a detriment, but I think he's only a detriment to her opponent. So I think one way or another, Grady's going to make sure that she keeps it. And she's either going to do it herself or have Jason do it for her. So I'm going with Tiffany.
All right. Well, and you talk about Jason Curtis being a detriment. I mean, you got to remember, Jason can be a detriment. He was a detriment when he was with Money and Power. That's why they fired him, because he cost them matches. And so, that's always something to look at. And, Juan, he said one thing he knows is if Adriana wants gold, Adriana will get gold. And obviously she wants gold. She's coming for it. But unfortunately, I don't see her walking out with the gold. I see Tiff retaining it. It's going to take one hell of a force to come in here in your very first match and walk out with Tiffany Grady's gold. I don't see it happening. Tiffany is going to do what Tiffany has to do to retain that gold. And whether it's use Jason Curtis, whether it's to use something else, whether it's to pull a trick, use the referee, whatever. She's gonna find a way to come out victorious and come out with her title. So I'm going with Tiff to retain on this one. So it looks like we are in agreement. We actually were in agreement on a lot of them.
Yeah.
I think there was only a couple of them that we differed. The Axel Crow Legion match and the Tyler Jordan match. Those were really the only two that we differed on. So it's definitely going to be interesting. It's going to be close on this one. So it might be a little closer than what it normally is between me and Gavin and a fan.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe we can get some special little belt to see who walks out with it on this show.
But
I think Sam will
but yeah,
probably just steal it, so maybe we should hold off for a show or two before we introduce the other belts into the picture. We'll add the All
Hey, if we
Pacific
need one, I
champion,
know somebody who can make it for us.
right?
Yeah.
yeah, he was
Doomed
just in the
Outfitters.
comments.
Doomed
Nice.
Outfitters. They'll make it for us.
But yeah, so all right, Susie, thank you for joining us, and be sure if you are in the area of Enwood this coming Saturday night, you want to make sure that you are at the South Berkeley Fire Hall, last rites, and doors open at 5:30, bell time 6:15. So that's where you want to be. Don't want to miss it. Um, well, I was going to ask if she has any last words, but there she is. So you got any last words before we let you go, Susie?
Well, I'm only going to say one thing, I'm only going to bring up one thing. In the FWWC, I know you guys were talking earlier. I have a title match on the 29th for this beautiful gold here against one they call El Luchador de KC. I know he checks in on some of these shows. I know he watches Elevation. So, Lucha, if you're watching, you ain't getting it. It's all mine. And sorry about your bad luck.
Well, I do know he was watching earlier. I don't know if he's still watching or not, but he was watching earlier. So, all right. Well, we appreciate you coming in with us. And if you want to come in and be a fan like Susie is, be sure to keep commenting, and we'd love to have you on.
Hit John up and tell John you want to be the fan for the night.
I saw Linda, she was doing a lot of picks. You want to come in sometime, just check your messenger when I send out messages, and we can definitely bring you on. So, all right, Susie, thank you for joining us, and
peace.
Have a good night. So, all right, it looks like we have come to the end here, Donnie. It's been great, and oh look, now Gary decides he's going to check in.
Oh, of
Where's
course.
the champion? He's been absent for 2 months now.
Gary, you were absent this whole show, man. How are you going to call the champ out like that? Where were you this whole show? Pop in right at the end. Shame on you, man.
What's that? Bus vacate the title. What, you want to put the title on Susie's bus or what? But that's so. But you should have checked in earlier, Gary. We could have brought you on again as our fan sponsor if you'd come in earlier, buddy. But check us out. We're always every other Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We are here. Be sure to check out Last Rites this coming Saturday night. Check out the wrestling school. Once again, be sure to there's the one I'm looking for. Check out the free tryout day. No experience required. If you've got the heart and drive and passion to be a professional wrestler, WDWA Academy would love to teach you, and you get a free session November 15th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Contact that number down there to sign up, or just hit WDWA up on Facebook and let them know, or just hit up Gavin Jackson directly. Whatever you got to do, let them know. Say, hey, I want to be at that tryout. I want to be in that ring. I want to be a WDWA superstar, and they'll make it happen. And, once you are there, obviously you could be on front line, every other Thursday night. I'm sorry, every Thursday night.
Every Thursday. Sometimes Friday, Saturday if we do a special episode, but every Thursday night, 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Catch up on all the action you missed, and catch some stuff that you may not have seen at the show, because there's a lot of stuff that takes place backstage, and as a matter of fact, everybody keeps expecting me to jump in the ring and go after Sam. I'm going to be looking for him backstage before the show. I'm not necessarily waiting until his match. I'm looking for him beforehand. And so he better hope I don't catch him.
Hey, he might not make it to the ring. It might be a 3-on-2.
It could be. So, be sure to check out Frontline every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Check out Wrestle Talk every other Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. And check out Fantasy Wrestling Worldwide chapter on Facebook. Just so much going on. You don't want to miss it. Donnie, it's been a lot of fun. I always enjoy when you come in with us. And, I'm guessing next time Gavin will be back. I'm just guessing there. But, if not,
you know where to find me.
I was going to say, if not, you're more than welcome to come back. It's been a lot of fun. And so for WDWA, for Frontline, for Gavin Jackson, for Donnie Diablo, for FWWC and Wrestle Talk Podcast, I am Hardcore John Haas. We will see you Tuesday night. Make sure you're there and have a great night.